Tonight on KGW News.
Thank God, justice has finally came.
Relief from the owner of a Portland pizza parlor. Police say they've caught the man who fired shots into his store, killing a customer.
Friends paint a picture of just one of the lives lost when a car crashed into a Salem homeless camp.
She just was one of those people you couldn't help but laugh and smile around her.
And later, Oregon's governor let hundreds of inmates out early when the pandemic began. So how many of them committed new crimes? Your news starts now. Good evening, I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Mulco, and we begin tonight with an arrest 6 months in the making. Police now say they have found the man responsible for a brazen shooting in Northwest Portland that left one man dead and 2 others injured.
The gunman fired more than one weapon into a popular pizza place as he walked by and then kept going. Catherine Cook talked with the owner of that business tonight. Catherine, he must be incredibly relieved.
Yes, Laurel, we actually told him the news, and his response echoes that of a lot of people. Tonight, the suspect, 25-year-old Marshawn Edwards, is being held without bail in the Multnomah County Jail. The case police built around him covers a lot of ground.
Thank God, justice has finally came. Thank you, thank God.
Overwhelming relief for Sam McBail, owner of Silver Dollar Pizza Company on Northwest 21st and Gleason. He just learned police made an arrest in the September murder of 34-year-old Jacob Knight Vasquez.
I hope that he would be in jail for a long time.
Police say around 2 a.m., Vasquez walked into the Silver Dollar to meet some friends for a drink. He worked as a server at the tavern right across the street. Suddenly, police say someone outside the Silver Dollar walked by, a gun in each hand, and fired multiple rounds into the restaurant. Vasquez was killed. 2 others were hurt.
He was literally walked inside in front of him by 1 second. Had he was delayed 1 second, he would have been still alive.
On Monday, U.S. Marshals arrested 25-year-old Marshawn Edwards in Fairview. Police say Vasquez was not Edwards' intended target, but they think he knows one of the other victims. Last fall, Vasquez's family pleaded with the public for help.
My brother was full of life, love. Everyone who knew him in this neighborhood loved him.
Court documents show investigators used forensic evidence to tie Edwards to the case. They matched DNA from cartridge casings found on scene with DNA from a 2014 rape kit. In that case, a juvenile victim reported Edwards and another man forced her into having sex. But Edwards and the second man said it was consensual and charges were never filed. Police say security video also helped in this case. It showed the Silver Dollar shooter wearing what appears to be the same hat and jacket the detectives saw Edwards wearing during surveillance. Video from a different shooting last month also shows the gunman wearing that same hat and jacket. Plus, bullet casings found at both shooting scenes matched. A 6-month-long investigation Sam McBail is grateful for.
Thank God they have the knowledge, and I hope I was helpful in providing all the videotapes that we have so we could catch this murder.
In Northwest Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Another man accused of 6 recent Portland shootings appeared in court today. 3 of the people shot were killed. Investigators say Joseph Banks appeared to be picking victims at random. Jeff Ramirez was one of them. He was killed near Southeast 119th and Stark last month. His family talked to us at the time about how much he'll be missed.
He was an amazing, loving person. We still are in disbelief. It's like a weird nightmare.
Banks is also accused of killing Mark Johnson and Isaiah Hurst. Banks has a long criminal history, including a dozen felony convictions. He reportedly suffers from schizophrenia and has spent most of the last decade in federal custody. He's back in jail now, facing 15 new charges. He pleaded not guilty today.
Well, let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. The Portland Timbers have been fined over how they handled domestic violence accusations against a former player. Now, Major League Soccer levied $25,000 against the club for not reporting the alleged incident involving Andy Polo last year. So the Timbers fired Polo in February after his estranged wife went on television detailing that alleged abuse. She also accused the Timbers of trying to pressure her not to file criminal charges, but the league's independent investigation found the Timbers did not try to influence her decision there.
In Eugene, police are looking for the person behind a horrific attack. They say someone splashed acid on a woman who was out walking her dog yesterday. She was treated at the hospital. Her dog was taken to a veterinarian. Police are investigating this as a possible bias crime because the assault could be related to the woman's ethnicity. There's only a vague description of the suspect.
The victim of a shooting in Northeast Portland earlier this month has died. 30-year-old Zachary Harris was shot March 16th on Northeast Cesar Chavez near Halsey. Police have not made any arrests in his case.
It's heartbreaking because she is and she was a wonderful person.
Friends tonight are remembering one of the people killed when a car crashed into a homeless camp in Salem. Rochelle Zamacona was just 29 years old. Friends from high school describe her as well-loved and athletic. They say she loved to ride horses.
She was just our little spitfire in the group. She always had a smile on her face.
If you wanted to have fun, if you needed somebody to lift your spirits, I feel like we always knew that we could count on Rochelle to do that.
And that's how her friends choose to remember her. They lost touch with Rochelle as she started to struggle with mental health and addiction and wound up on the streets. Friends say there needs to be a better system in place to help those in her situation.
So many people falling through the cracks. Well, Portland is getting ready to open a new permanent homeless shelter at the end of this week, but some property owners in the area are trying to stop it. We're going to explain why in just a second, but first, the 125-bed facility is on Southeast Market near 2nd. That is an industrial area of the Central East Side. The building was being used as an emergency warming shelter during the winter. Of course, temporary is different from permanent, which is the change the Joint Office of Homeless Services plans for this Friday. But lawyers representing other property owners in the area have now filed an injunction to stop that project. They argue the building is not zoned for that type of development. It's not suitable to have people living there. And they also say the planners made the decision to create a permanent shelter without public input.
We are in favor of a permanent shelter in the Central East Side, just in the right location that is going to best serve the needs of this population, keep them safe, and again, above all, is transparency, accountability by our leaders, and community engagement.
Okay, it is worth noting here the property owners behind the injunction are also trying to develop an office campus called the Electric Blocks in the area, and they say if the shelter goes in, tenants will never come. By the way, the Joint Office of Homeless Services says they are following all laws in opening that shelter. They would not comment on the court filing there.
Beaverton's mayor gave the state of the city today. Along with touting the suburb's many accomplishments, leaders also discussed a major shift in their form of government. Pat Doris took a closer look at the address tonight on The Story.
Usually these things are pretty dull. A mayor will stand at a podium and drone on and on and on about their accomplishments to a room full of people who really work hard to try and stay awake. This one was not that.
Hey, Mayor, we're ready for you.
All right, I'm on my way. That was the mayor.
Yeah, no kidding. I like the scooter.
This was Beaverton's new mayor, Lacey Beatty. She's been in office for about a year now. And instead of delivering a stuffy speech, she created a video and took viewers on a scooter-driven odyssey through town. We want to focus on one recent change that Beaverton has made that Portland could vote on in November, changing the government structure. They used to have something called a strong mayor, where the mayor ran the city administratively, but voters approved a change, and on January 1st of 2021, Beaverton got a professional city manager. They also went from 5 council members to 7, including the mayor. Councilors say restructuring the government helps them get things done more efficiently.
We changed from the strong mayor form of government, of which Beaverton was the only example in the state of Oregon, to a council manager form of government, which every other city in Oregon except Portland has. And in that form of government, we have a professional city manager who's responsible for managing the staff, the programs, the finances, and the assets of the city. And we have a full-time mayor, who, by the way, votes at the council, who gets to be the ambassador to the community.
They say the mayor has been able to use that ambassador role to bring in a lot of money from the state and federal government that can be invested in the city, while the city manager takes care of the day-to-day operations. We're going to be looking into those changes in the next few weeks, so we want to hear from you, especially if you live or work in Beaverton. Contact us. Let us know what's working well and what really needs to change. Send us an email at thestory@kgw.com or leave us a voicemail, 503-226-5090.
Our thanks to Pat for that. Well, now to the latest in the war in Ukraine. A pledge from Russia to scale back some military operations is now being met with considerable skepticism. Ukraine and Russia are resuming talks Wednesday to try and agree on a framework to end the war. But, and this is a big but, Ukraine's president said, given what he is seeing on the ground, there is no reason to believe Russia's commitment to reducing military activity near Kyiv and another city in the north. Now, the U.S. and others also expressed doubts here about Russia's intentions.
The war's impact on gas prices continues. The national average stayed the same this week, but Oregon prices went up slightly. Oregon drivers are paying $4.72 a gallon on average now. Washington prices stayed the same week over week and are at $4.73 a gallon. But we can at least say we're not paying California prices, which are now averaging $5.90 a gallon. And my son sent me a photo today showing prices at one LA station at $6.99 for regular.